Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the Monday, June 17th, 6:30 PM public hearing to order. This public hearing is for Council Order 2024-076, Utility Grant of Location, Mass Electric, Verizon, 108 Franklin Street. So at this point, I'd like to ask anyone wishing in favor or opposition to come to the podium, state your name and address. If you do not wish to speak, but would like your support or opposition recorded, please sign in on the sheet on the table at the back of the chamber. Okay, anybody in favor or against? 1, 2, 3, nobody? So, seeing no further public comment, I close the public hearing at 6:31.
Yeah, good evening. I'd like to call to order the Monday, June 17th meeting of the Ordinance Committee. Could our clerk of committees call the roll, please?
Counselor Ash. Present. Counselor Kane.
Present.
Counselor Campbell.
Present.
Counselor Devine.
Present.
Counselor Harris.
Present.
Counselor McCarthy.
Present.
Counselor Mitten.
Present.
Chairman Liang.
Present.
9 members, you have a quorum. Who did I miss? Tabona, sorry.
Present.
I knew I missed someone, sorry.
Thank you. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made whether perceived or unperceived by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. Okay, so in Ordinance Committee tonight, we're discussing order number 2024-063, order amendment to the tax incremental financing agreement, Granite Telecommunications Corp. / Fox Rock Heritage One Realty LLC, 61 Heritage Drive. The tax incremental financing agreement is something that has already been in place for the last close to a decade now, I believe, just under. But the order in front of us tonight is an amendment to that existing agreement. And so I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Walker, the Mayor's Chief of Staff, to just talk logistics about what a tax incremental finance agreement is, and then the impact of this change and the benefits, if there are any. Thank you.
Through you, Madam Chairwoman. Playing short a couple members of the team tonight. Maureen Geary from the Planning Department, who is instrumental in working through these TIF agreements with various corporations in the city, as a personal matter that needed her attendance this evening. And our Municipal Finance Director, Eric Mason, is out injured. Ask me about it some other time. He will not be able to be with us tonight, our guru, all things economics. But I think this is relatively minor in nature, therefore I think I can handle the load. So what's before the body tonight, Madam Chairwoman, is a minor amendment to an existing TIF agreement with Granite Telecommunications. TIF stands for Tax Incremental Financing, and it's the local component to a larger state, the largest state economic development incentive program known as EDIP. The overarching goal for programs like this is to retain talent, to grow jobs, create jobs, and to create investment in the community. Specifically, what it does requires a company, in this case Granite, to pledge a specific number of new jobs created and a specific amount of capital investment into commercial building space. In return, the city provides an incentive to help offset that investment by limiting property tax growth over a standard period of time, in this case 20 years. It's been a very successful tool for the city over the years. We have 7 of them that exist today. And I want to be clear that this does not mean that Granite Tel does not pay property taxes. A TIF only applies to the anticipated growth in property taxes over the life of the agreement. So basically, essentially what you're getting is the benefit of making the investment. The company makes the investment. We get the benefit of the new jobs. We get the induced new jobs that are created in the economy, and the company gets the benefit of stable property taxes for a certain amount of time. I would argue that we have 7 of these. They've all been extraordinarily successful. Millions of dollars of investment in the local economy, hundreds of new jobs, tens of millions of dollars in overall productivity over the course of all of these. I would argue that these programs are not only effective, but they're necessary in today's climate when attracting, retaining, and keeping large corporations, large commercial interests, jobs are very difficult to do in today's real estate environment. So before you tonight, again, is an amendment to a TIF agreement that already exists. It was passed in 2016. And the reason for the amendment is things have changed in the positive direction from Granite. There are three substantive changes that are in the amendment proposed to the council tonight. One is Granite has increased the number of jobs that it will create under this program from 250 to 325. That's 75 additional jobs on top of what they've already committed to. They've agreed to invest another close to $9 million into the facility on Heritage Drive, on top of the $4 million that they've already spent. That's double the amount of the original investment in the facility. In the key section for their purposes, on the other end of the agreement, the only thing that's changing is the percentage of the benefit over the next 5 years. So it's a 20-year agreement. The first 10 years include 100% benefit on the growth of the property taxes. Granted, I'll note that Granite pays upwards just for that one facility, close to $600,000 a year in taxes as it stands right now. That doesn't change. The value over the course of this agreement to Granite is right around $2 million, maybe even a little bit less than that, $2 million. That's roughly $200,000 a year over the course of the 20 years. When you factor in the benefit to the city, the cost-benefit ratio is incredibly lopsided toward the city. Millions of dollars of new investment, more than $1 million in small business expenditures every year from the employees at Granite. Those types of things mean a stable environment, and an environment that will allow Granite to continue to grow. Again, I'll go back to the specific change. Years 11 through 15 continue the maximum benefit that already exists now at 100%. In the original agreement, those years, 11, 15, would have started, or did start, the drawdown on the percentage of the total benefit. So it was 100% for the first 5 years, and then it would start drawing down 90% of the property tax growth, 80% of the property tax growth, 70, 60, 50, so on, down to zero over the course of the agreement. Under this change, those 5 years remain at the 100% benefit, but then we skip the 90, the 80, the 70, the 60, and we go right to the 50. So that middle ground in that middle, it's less than 100, it's probably less than a total benefit of $100,000 in total when you're talking about the year-to-year costs to the taxpayer, to the tax roll. Again, it benefits upwards of several $1 million a year, with a cost of around $200,000 a year on the tax roll. I do want to make note that fundamentally, this is a business transaction. This makes sense. Always has. These programs, again, have been incredibly successful. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Granite is an incredible corporate citizen in this city. It has made a commitment to keep its headquarters in this community. I don't have to mention to this group the amount of community involvement from Granite, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention it all, because again, this is a business arrangement. But safe to say, there is not a corporate citizen in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that does more for its home community than Granite Tell, and possibly nationally. And we're very proud of the relationship we've built over the years with Granite. We're very proud that they've have upwards of 1,500 employees staying here in Quincy, more employees to come. I do want to acknowledge Mike Galvin, Chief Operating Officer at Granite, is with us tonight in the audience. I certainly answer any questions the body may have, and Mr. Galvin is here as well. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. I'd like to open it up to my colleagues to direct questions either to you, Mr. Walker, or the representative from Granite. Thank you for being here this evening. Any questions from my colleagues on this matter? Okay, seeing none, I do have a question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Councilor DeBona. Thank you. No, please. I defer to you.
No, thank you for the information. I know we've talked about this in the past. I was on the council in 2016, and we're just making some amendments to this, so it looks pretty good in front of us. So just wanted to note that in. We will, four of us were up here at that point, 2016. So here we're coming back for some amendments here in 2024, 8 years later. So looks good.
Did you want to put that in the form of a motion,
No,
or you
for-
just wanted to?
A motion to approve.
Thank you, Counselor DeBona, and we don't need a second since we're in committee, so all in favor? I'm sorry, there's one more on the motion, if I could. Counselor Devine.
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to say that, with that being said, Mr. Walker, you also didn't mention that in this package we have here, everything I'm seeing is they give to everything. Cadle, Dove, Cradles to Crayon, Boston Children's Hospital, American Red Cross. It just keeps going. I've never seen a list so big. Lauren Baker Fund, Partners Museum of Science, Quincy. Just every page has something that they're doing. 20,000 meals donated, trucks and treats for Halloween, Q-Care Quincy After School Program, 785 bags of ingredients made for holidays, Christmas trees donated. Unbelievable. So I just want to say thank you.
Counselor Devine. Any other questions or comments from my colleagues? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion on the floor to approve by Counselor DeBona. And again, since we're in committee, we don't need a second, but we will be doing a roll call. So if you could call the roll, please.
Counselor Ash. Yes. Counselor Kane.
Abstain.
Counselor Campbell.
Yes.
Counselor Devine.
Yes.
Counselor DeBona.
Yes.
Counselor Harris.
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy. Yes. Counselor Mitten.
Yes.
Chairman Liang.
Yes. 8 votes, that passes. Thank you. All right, so we will convene then the ordinance committee at 6:45 PM.
Good evening, folks. I'd like to open up the Finance Committee meeting this evening. Jen, can you call the roll?
Counselor Ash. Counselor Kane. Counselor Campbell. Counselor Devine. Counselor DeBona. Counselor Harris. Counselor Liang. Counselor Mitten. Chairman McCarthy.
Present.
9 members.
I'm going to read the open meeting law before we begin. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived, by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. Could we please stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance before we begin? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. This evening, we have 3 items in the Finance Committee to discuss. One, appropriation of $1 million for preliminary work for the new Squantum Elementary School, $320,000 for MSBA Montclair Elementary roof replacement projects, and ordinance amending Municipal Code 72, classifications and salaries, officially salary schedule for city councilors. I'd like to open it up, if I could, just for a brief overview from Mr. Hines on the Squantum item. We could lead off with that, Paul, and open it up to questions. I think it's pretty clear cut what we want to do, but you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, committee members. So the Squantum School replacement project is going along very well. As we all know, it's one of the core projects with the MSBA for their programming. And we just finished submission to them the schematic design drawings and the plans to date. They will be acting on that by, we believe, September or October of this fall, 2024. We all know the cost of escalations of prices, building materials, groceries, everything. And every day counts in this schedule in real dollars. And we have chosen to anticipate the approval of the MSBA of that schematic design and thereby direct our architectural team of Arrow Street to begin the design development documents now, rather than sit idle for the 3 months. And that will save us quite a bit of money at the back end to have those plans ready, bid sooner, and construction start sooner. Our advance in that also better aligns the construction schedule with the school schedule. Our hope is to begin preliminary early stage work in spring of 2025. More robust pre-enabling work, summer of 2025, have the students in the 1971 building and in the mobile classrooms for September of 2025, and construction begin in earnest. We need funding to do that. We also need funding to do the work that we can do this summer, because the construction site with an active school and the parents and teachers, students back and forth, the construction workers, it's going to be a very tight layout. We want to do as much as we can in 2024. Some of the work that we're doing and have done is we've already removed the underground oil tanks. Thankfully, the ground was clean. We have advanced geotech wells. We're part of the zero emissions and the 100% net zero building. We're doing geothermal wells for the heating system. We've advanced those wells. We have more work to do in that regard. We're also working with National Grid and the other utilities on the undergrounding of the utilities in front of the building on Huckins Avenue, thereby allowing us to widen Huckins Avenue to alleviate some of the congestion everyone experiences mornings and afternoons for the pickup and drop-offs. We'll be widening the street onto school-side property to allow parking stalls and thereby allow the two-way traffic to continue on Huckins Ave, unlike today. But in order to widen that street, we need to remove the electrical overhead and the Comcast, the fire alarm, and everybody else that enjoys the view from those poles. So the money that we're seeking is part of the overall project cost at the end. It will be rolled into that. It is not in addition thereto. It just gives us some liquidity to be able to flexible and pivot and do some work early on. So we're asking for your support for that.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilor Harris.
Thank you, Chairman McCarthy, and thank you, Paul. Thank you to the administration. I remember when we started this journey, it was one of my first meetings. We got together and it was great. We put this forward. This has been going on. We've been searching for this for many years, and I can't thank the folks enough. It's exciting. I asked my colleagues to support this. This is great that through this summer, we get a big head start on what Paul described of the work that needs to be done, so we're ahead of the game. We have major work that's going to be going on that's going to make the neighborhood better, safer. Huckins Road, Huckins Ave being widened, and it's great. My children went there many years ago. And today, for instance, after work and after I had an appointment, I went and I saw the kids enjoying themselves at the Nickerson Post. I used to DJ 10 years ago and less. Their graduation, the kids' graduation party was today, and they were out having a great time and on a beautiful day out by the water. And it really is something. It's all about our children. These buildings, we have the money that we're hoping, which we are going to get, and I'm just going to say that we are going to get that, and it's really and it's really great. And I'm proud of all the members that have served here on this council, because I had to come up a couple times, as well as yourself, to ask to continue to pass and ask for this money. It wasn't something that happened right away, and now you see it happening. So this is a great thing. It's a good thing. Another school in Quincy. You look at all the ones that have been done. It's only beautified the neighborhoods. It's only strengthened our educational systems. And again, as well as I wanted to mention too is that my children, while they were in the Quincy school system, they got a great education. So, and that's to the former superintendents and all the teachers. It's really this is a great city to be in. So, thank you, Chairman. Motion to approve.
So we have a motion from Councilor Harris to approve. On the motion, any other discussion? Councilor Devine?
Commissioner Hines, it's kind of just personal to me, I guess, the geothermal wells. How far do you have to go down to for those? Because they're pretty cool. I don't know if people understand how they work, but when you recoup the energy from the earth and then you only have to heat it so much, it's amazing. But sometimes you have to go pretty deep, I believe, right?
The two wells that we've advanced have gone down 500 feet.
Wow.
Went rather easily, actually, and surprisingly. And the tests on them so far have been very successful. So we feel we're not going to need as many wells as they initially thought, which should be a cost savings,
What's the temperature down at 500?
500 feet down.
What's the temperature? Do you have a temperature down there now?
It was 52 degrees.
Oh,
And
cool.
as you know, you seem to be
Yeah.
discussing it, that's the constant. So that's the base.
Yeah.
We heat or cool from that.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Well, great. I'd love to hear it. You know, it's state-of-the-art stuff. So thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Counselor Yang?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a quick question. So you said at the end of your presentation, and so I just wanted to be clear that I heard you correctly. You said the $1 million in front of us today is not in addition to the overall project cost. You're just looking to start the work a little bit sooner and get moving on it. So rather than spend this million later, you're spending it now to get the work started sooner, correct?
That is correct.
Just wanted to make sure. That's what I thought I heard, but I just wanted to make sure. And then I just want to say a huge kudos to my colleague, Councilor Harris. I'm no longer in Ward 6 and haven't been for some time, but I went to Squantum School in my very, very, very young days, and I love that area, playing softball out back. It's a beautiful area for, like you said, like kids to just be out in the community. And I know you've been advocating for this and fighting for this for longer than I can remember. Like every time we've been up here talking about any other school across the city, you're like, you can't forget about Ward 6. You can't forget about Squantum, right? And how old that school is. And there haven't been improvements there for quite some time. And so I just wanted to say kudos to you because, you know, it's finally starting this summer, right? And it's because of your advocacy over all these years. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. Thank you, Council. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anyone else? So on the motion by Counselor Harris, I don't see any other conversation. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, and we can go to the next one, Paul, which is the 2024-060, the appropriation for $320,000 for the Montclair Elementary roof and other areas of the school,
Yes.
I believe.
So we were here before on the MSBA Accelerated Repair Program for the replacement of roofs at Wollaston and Montclair schools with associated ADA upgrades, as well as the new boiler plant at Parker Elementary. The bids for the Wollaston work came in about $300,000 below our estimates. The work for the Montclair school came in about $300,000 over those estimates, the actual bid. So ultimately, it's the same overall dollars for the two projects combined, but with the way the votes are, they were particular to building to building, so I can't take from Wollaston and give to Montclair. Only you and the mayor can do that. So the MSBA is very generous and very helpful. It's also somewhat of a cumbersome process, so I'm not asking you to reduce the Wollaston appropriation at this point because I don't want to rock that boat. The funds that aren't expended on the program just will not be bonded and will not be spent. I'm asking for the additional appropriation for Montclair to be cleaner, to allow us to award that contract and get that work done in summer 2024.
Thank you. Motion approved by Counselor Kane. On the motion, Counselor Yang.
Yeah, I just want to ask a clarifying question again, just as far as the numbers that are in front of us. It says here that at a minimum, we're going to get about 60% back, right? At a minimum, and there's a good chance we might get more than that by the end of the project, correct?
Correct. There's a
Okay.
chance, yes.
Okay, great. Just again, wanted to make sure that was the case. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other comments? So we have a motion by Counselor Kane. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. One thing, though, in regards to Counselor Harris and Squantum, as Counselor Yang said, Squantum's got a good counselor. If I don't recognize him for anything to do with Squantum, you know, I know he wants to talk Squantum. I know he's all about Squantum. Today, he mentioned, you know, he was up the post at a seniors day or a high school graduation day type field event. Always involved and always pushing for Ward 6. So he's a good guy to have in the mix. But thank you, Mr. Hines.
Thank you. See you in a half hour.
Third item that I have tonight, 2024-056, is the ordinance amending municipal code, Chapter 72, Article 1, job classification salary, Section 72-1, official salary schedule for city councilors. So I'm going to open it up for some conversation. Just if I could just take 2 seconds. I tried to put together and went through the numbers all the way back to 1972. I know that some of the suggestions of 3% raise were kicked around over the years, which we don't have a process yet. Trying to give the council some numbers to look at, and also some history also in the package that really goes back the last 52 years, and also over the last 23 years when the council has had 2 raises. So I tried to give as much as I could in regards to you folks, just to take a high-level look. But I'd like to open it up to discussion. I'll recognize Councilor DeBona to lead off.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to start off by just saying, as council president 2 years ago, I brought this forward, and a lot of my colleagues on the council said, well, we don't have a real study in front of us. We don't have a report, so we have one in front of us tonight. Also 2 years ago in 2022, the Quincy School Committee got an $11,000 raise. That is actually 122% increase in pay. They went from $9,000 to $20,000. I actually value that increase in pay. As a former school committee member, along with Dave McCarthy, and just 6 months ago, we had Ann Mahoney up here, as well as Anthony Andronico. 4 of the 9 councilors were former school committee members, so I really value that over at the school committee level. It's not just about it's the position of being the city councilor. It's about not only being the councilor, but also being involved in the community. Just like all these councilors up here tonight, and many other councilors before us, like former city councilors that are current elected officials, State Senator John Keenan, State Representative Bruce Ayers, and Norfolk County Sheriff Pat McDermott. They all served in this special fraternity. Colleagues that I've former served with are now judges and clerk magistrates, they're department heads. Let's get into the field of mayors. All former mayors, Jim Sheets, Frank McCauley, Arthur Tobin, Joe Larea, Walter Hannon, I can go on all night. Basically, the position of the city council has to be valued. It's not only for us, it's for the people before us, the people that are going to be after us. So I know that folks up here are very involved in the community. It's not just the job, it's not just the position, it's being involved in the community out there. And I think every one of us up here do it, and the many people before us do it, and I believe that we need to continue to have that moving forward. I just wanted to elaborate with that. I know Councilor Chair McCarthy has given a packet out to everybody, and I just wanted to start off by just saying that. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to yield my time. I think Councilor Ash wants to go here.
Recognizes Councilor Ash.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the background. I am going to suggest an amendment and a cut of $3,000. So I know that the ordinance as it is in front of us is for $47,500, and I'm going to suggest and put forward an amendment to that for $44,500.
Kane? Before I even move forward,
It's not germane to that.
okay. So we had a motion by Councilor DeBona,
Motion by Councilor.
motion right by Councilor Ash for a cut of $3,000.
Correct.
To make it $44,500. Am I correct? No, I just want to ask, anybody comments on that motion, on that change? Okay, so I'm going to take that motion that Councilor Ash just stated, and I'm going to turn it into a roll call vote. I'll make the second on it, even though we're in committee. Make a second on a roll call vote, because it's very important. So, Jen, can you call a roll?
Counselor Ash. Counselor King. Yes. Counselor Campbell. Yes. Counselor Devine. Counselor DeBona. Yes. Counselor Harris. Counselor Liang. Yes. Counselor Mitten. No. Chairman McCarthy.
Yes. 7 members passed. Counselor DeBona?
I'd like to make a motion to approve as amended.
Motion made as approved. On the motion?
Thank you.
Counselor Kane.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think there's been a lot of discussion about all of these compensation packages over the last couple of weeks. And I think one of the greatest glaring issues that has been outlined for these proposals is that there had been no existing classifications of salaries to the general ordinances for these positions. So you'll see on the general agenda tonight that I propose that we add 2 sections to Article 1 of job classifications and salaries of the general ordinances of the city that will highlight from a base level what the salaries of each of the positions from the mayor of Quincy and the city councilor should be. It'll discuss the annual salary adjustment that should take place on a specified date that will be based on a percentage of the consumer price index for the region. We'll institute a review and approval process, which will consist of an independent salary review committee consisting of 3 members appointed by the city council and shall be reviewed every 5 years. And then there can be also performance-based adjustments for those salaries for each, the mayor's position and the city councilor's positions, and based on things such as, financial management, achievement of strategic goals, and community satisfaction. I think, having this in place, we don't want anyone who's sitting in these seats to have to go through this process like this again, and having some structure and some, a scope of what these salaries are outlined, so that there's not only an independent review, as was, initially presented in a way that not everyone, of course, was satisfied with, which is a very difficult thing to attain anyway, but something that includes a more public process that I think would be digestible for at least most people involved. So I'm just giving a highlight. This will be on the main agenda when we get into the council meeting, but it won't be voted on until the fall because it will have to be advertised. So thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, President Kane. Thank you very much. So I'd like to do a roll call on the motion as amended. Jen, can you call a roll?
Counselor Ash. Yes. Counselor Kane. Yes. Counselor Campbell. Yes. Counselor Devine. Yes. Counselor DeBona. Yes. Counselor Harris. Counselor Yang. Yes. Counselor Mitten. No. Chairman McCarthy.
Yes.
8 members. 7 members.
Thank you. That's the last item I have on my Finance Committee agenda, so I'd like to adjourn the meeting at 7:20. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the June 7th Quincy City Council meeting, starting at 7:30. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash. Present. Counselor Campbell. Present. Counselor Devine. Counselor DeBona. Present. Counselor Harris. Present. Counselor Yang. Present. Counselor McCarthy. Present. Counselor Mitten. Present. President Kane.
Present. Counselor Devine.
Counselor Devine. Present. 9 members. You have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. If everyone could please stand for a moment of silence. Please use this moment as you will. Please turn to the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, please read the open meeting law.
Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived, by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, first item on the agenda.
We'll be honoring the Girl Scouts of Quincy.
Where are the Girl Scouts? Just kidding. They're everywhere. Thank you for being here tonight. It's our pleasure to welcome and honor the Girl Scouts of Quincy. We're going to give out some commendations tonight, but first we're going to go through, they've all been reward recipients for respective community projects that I'm going to run through at the various levels that they were awarded tonight. So first, the Bronze Award recipients, Gianna Quintos and Riley Wu, that did a project called Bike Safety Project. And the goal was wanting to educate others on the importance of bike safety, teach others how to select and wear a bike helmet properly. The next Bronze Award recipient is Courtney Garland, Mallory Jacobs, Madeline Murphy, and Callie Severs, who did a community garden project the goal of which was to tackle the issue of availability of fresh produce at the Quincy Food Pantry. And the third Bronze Award recipients are Roisin Lynn, Emmeline Torres, and Olivia Tinlin for Boosters Are for Big Kids 2 project, the goal of which was to tackle the issue of availability of fresh produce at the Quincy, I'm sorry, that's wrong, we just did that one. I believe this was a project about describing the importance of booster seats in cars. Is that correct? Okay, sorry about that. So congratulations to the Bronze Award recipients. So the next category are the Silver Award recipients, and the one project in here is from Dolores Quintos, Ruo Lee, Alexandra Camargo, and Bridget Kelly, and their project is called Textile Recycling Project, and the goal of which was to educate the local community on how to properly dispose textiles, what counts as textiles for recycling, and where to drop off textiles for recycling. Congratulations to the Silver Award recipients. Okay, and we have two Gold Award recipients, the first of which is Lauren Donahue for her community garden project, the goal of which was to establish a community garden for people to grow and share food within small spaces, which created a greater sense of community. And Micah Zhu, whose project was Pollinator Garden Mural Project, the goal of which was to address the negative impacts of climate change is having on the ecosystem's essential pollinators, which include bees, butterflies, and other insects, through education, community outreach, and awareness. Congratulations to our Gold Award recipients. Now, we have commendations for everyone, which I will distribute to Donna, and she'll give to you after, but we'd love to have all of you come into the well and take a picture with the city councilors. So we'll take a brief recess to do that. Okay, we'll get back to the regularly scheduled program. Madam Clerk, next item on the agenda, please.
Recognition of Pride Month.
The president recognizes Councilor Ash.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to take a minute today and during today's meeting, as it is our last meeting of the month, and recognize Pride Month in June, as many people up here are involved in different capacities in promoting the LGBTQ community in Quincy. So I wanted to highlight some of that. As some of you know, June is celebrated as Pride Month because it is the anniversary of the Stonewall Uprising in 1969 in New York. And so over the years, celebrating Pride Month in cities has certainly seen an uptick, and we're very happy, we meaning Quincy Pride Inc., which is the 501c3 that most of you know I'm the president of, are very happy that that movement has now, since 2018, come to Quincy. So between Quincy Pride Inc., which is an all-volunteer 10-person board, the LGBTQ City Commission, which Councilor Liang and Chief of Staff Mr. Walker both serve on as commissioners, the United First Parish Church, and PFLAG, which is a new chapter of the Greater Boston PFLAG community that is making waves and trying to promote the PFLAG mission in Quincy. We were able to host a flag raising on June 1st at the United First Parish Church. So if you come out of Chambers this evening, you'll look right across Hancock Adams Common and you'll see that flag. This is the third year that we've been able to do a sizable, beautiful, quite frankly, if I'm being biased, flag raising there to promote Pride Month in the city. And that was on June 1st. The day after that, on June 2nd, we had Quincy Pride. It was the 7th year, the 5th festival, and we held it this year at the Ross Lot next to the General's Bridge. We had a great setup. We had over 40 vendors. We had a children's stage, entertainers all day. The children's stage was manned for the large majority of the afternoon by melodrama and mellow musical. If you know Mel Gillespie, she runs an amazing kids music theater program here in the city. We had a number of headlining bands, over 12 corporate sponsors. It was really a great afternoon of promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion on the South Shore and in Quincy. And if you haven't been to one of our festivals, they are the first Sunday of every June. I'd encourage you to join us. You won't be disappointed, and I'd also like to thank my colleagues in government that stopped by, Councilor Devine, Councilor DeBona, Council President Kane, and I'm looking around. And I know Councilor Liang serves on the LGBTQ Commission and has really done and helped out with a number of these initiatives, but I believe she had a wedding that weekend, so we were sorry to miss her. But in any event, I wanted to highlight that and also give a shout out to our QPS scholarship awardees, Kira Robertson and Arsen Sekmokas. We sent both of those individuals home with $1,000 in recognition of their efforts to promote DEI in Quincy and on the South Shore, and they will use that funds to attend college in the fall and continue on their path of public service and promoting these ideals. So I really just wanted for everybody to see and hear more about how Quincy celebrates Pride Month. Quincy Pride is certainly thankful to be included in the celebrations budget from the city. We get not only all the in-kind services, police and TPAL and all of the city services for our festival, but also financial contributions as well. So we're very thankful for that, and I just wanted to put that on the agenda today. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Ash. President recognizes Councilor Liang.
Thank you, Mr. President. My sister was getting married to her now wife on June 1st, and so I couldn't have asked for a better way to celebrate, I think, at the start of Pride Month and to celebrate my sister and her new wife. But no, I just actually wanted to just thank Councilor Ash for all that you've done for the community. Even before your time up here on the council, you've been a huge advocate in the community, very active in many ways, not just with getting Q Pride off the ground and keeping it sustained, right? Which is the most important thing, is that it's easy to start something, but how do you sustain it over time and build it? And you've done just that, right, under your leadership, and you've continued to do so. And, being an ally to this community, what I've learned, it's about, it's visibility, it's recognition, and most importantly, acceptance. And I think you have shown us all how to do that in a way that is empowering to people to go out on their own, right, and start efforts on their own across the community, like PFLAG. And that I don't think would have happened had it not been, again, for your leadership to get Q Pride out there, to get the visibility, to get the recognition, and then to have this community feel accepted. So I just wanted to say, really, in recognition of Pride, I just want to recognize you and what you've done for the community here in this city. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Liang. Thank you, Councilor Ash. Madam Clerk, next item on the agenda, please.
Number one, 2024-077, an appropriation for $250,000 to fiber optics and digital infrastructure for community broadband.
Oh, my goodness. So if you haven't heard me talk about this for the last 6 years, we have been advancing a municipal fiber network here in the city of Quincy, which is a huge infrastructure project and a major undertaking that will certainly advance Quincy far into the future, comparable to other cities and towns across the nation. What we are endeavoring to do is to create a competitive marketplace for residents of the city in order to have, one, access to high-quality internet, but two, at a low cost. Right now, most people are beholden to an incumbent provider that shall remain nameless. And this is a really good public works project to provide digital access to all residents of the city, and something that when we do complete this project will be looked upon favorably across the country, because it will be a model and a template for how innovation and deliverability of public services, especially as we consider access to the internet now a public good for the future. So we've been working with a team called Entry Point Networks over the last 6 years since the inception of this project, and they are currently serving as a project manager, liaising with our engineering team, who have been advancing the design and development of pilots. So our intention is to roll out the first 2 pilots starting hopefully in the fall, but that would be following a subscription campaign that we would be starting. This project will be most successful when it reaches a certain what's called a take rate, meaning that there are a number of subscribers that make this project economically feasible. So tonight, happy to welcome Bruce Patterson from Entry Point Networks to provide an update and to talk about the project's progress to date and where we stand. Tonight, there is an appropriation in front of us for $250,000 that would come out of the Snow and Ice Fund. And this would govern the first phases of this municipal broadband project in order to start the public marketing campaign and the subscription process to build our take rate. So thank you for being here. I know you endured some traffic from the airport to get here. There was a bus on fire on the highway, unfortunately, but glad you're here now.
A little crazy. I'm glad I'm here as well. I appreciate the chance to provide everyone with an update. It's been a process. I think you all recognize that. And we had a little thing, maybe you've heard of it, called COVID that kind of fell into the middle of it. But over the last couple of years, we've made good progress on a citywide high-level design. So a high-level design really identifies the number of serving locations that get passed and the footages that are involved in order to do it. So what it does is it gets you to a unit count for materials and labor so that you can get more accurate with your estimates. So that's been completed for the city in its entirety. And then a little deeper design has been done for a couple of phase 1 neighborhoods. That involves a little more due diligence, confirmation of the actual routes, and the location of the plant itself, and that's been done as well. The good news is, just to provide you with a summary, is that it all falls within the feasibility of the project as a whole. Looking at the prices that it would cost to build the capital, make the capital investment, the city should still expect to be able to be open access. That means that the city is not a retail provider, but builds an infrastructure that has multiple retail providers delivering services across that infrastructure to the residents. We would expect to see that at $70 a month for 1 gig speeds, with no data cap and no contract for those that wanted to make use of that network. So those are the preliminary feasibility numbers that we're seeing come in. Clearly, as Ian mentioned, it's really important that we figure out, for every 10 homes we pass, how many will sign up, because that is completely relevant to the feasibility of the network and getting your capital return on it. So launching the marketing at this phase and getting some early signups is really critical. Now, we do have a lot of market analysis. We know the demographics of the city, and so we have a really solid basis to feel that you're going to start out with between a 30 and 35% take rate right in year one. We expect that to grow. So those have been used as a basis so far. What this effort will do will confirm those numbers. Second thing that's really important we need to do is we need to procure and onboard a construction workforce and a material supplier. Now that's really critical too, because while we make estimates based on what we see in the market, the question becomes who will come and do the installation and what will the rates actually be. So what we really need to do is get a workforce contractor at the table to take a look at the designs. Before we push them all the way down and finalize engineering, they may make some changes and suggestions that they feel like will enable them to be more efficient and deliver the product at a lower price. So for those two reasons, those are the two activities we really want to move forward with next is, number one, launching marketing and community engagement. Number two, procuring a contractor just to inform final design as we move to engineering.
Do any of my colleagues have questions? Councilor Liang?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for being here this evening. I'm glad that you were able to avoid that bus that caught on fire and got here safely. So just to be clear, so you're saying that depending on what construction company we bring in to do the work, that actually has the potential of bringing that average estimate of $70 per gig even lower for the residents in the city?
Potentially. I gave you what we feel is like right in the
Sure.
middle of the road. It's certainly the goalpost that we've set for ourselves, and we feel that that's attainable. It is possible we could see less. Labor rates have come up, material a little bit, but not much. The good news is technology is advanced, and there are some methodologies that are available that weren't just a few years ago that can help us to minimize that labor boost. And so we're still really on budget with what your plan said back in 2020.
Okay, remind me again what the timeline looks like right now. If you said, you're in this phase where you want to do two things. One is the marketing communications, making sure folks know that this is still moving forward, right? And the second piece is bringing in that reputable, established company that can do this work and do it well and for a good price. But what are we looking at as far as timeline goes? Like, let's say you were to start tomorrow, how long does it take typically? I know that ranges, right? But typically to procure a company and to move forward with that work, like from start to finish, when can residents start to take advantage of these new services?
I think ideally, everyone can tell the market is moving very quick when it comes to internet and connectivity. So ideally, a shovel goes in the ground, the first two phase one neighborhoods, work commences, it's completed come spring. Realistically, it's going to depend somewhat on the contractor we can bring in. If they can put 10 crews into Quincy, or 20 crews, that dramatically changes it. Or if the city decides we want to award to more than one contractor in order to advance it, those are decisions we'll need to make. But we would like to see, just speaking generally, that the city is done in 3 years.
Great. We wish it could be done sooner than that. That's all I have for now. I mean, it's been a very informative process the entire way. And I know I'm getting a lot of kudos tonight, but I think it's well-deserved for all the work that everyone's doing up here, specifically for this item, obviously, to you, Mr. President, if I could. I remember we had conversations about this years ago when you first started this, and I was so excited that you took this initiative to be so creative and find a creative solution for us. I remember during the pandemic when we were all on Zoom, and I was running, the Zoom as the council president at the time, having to switch over to the hotspot on my phone because Comcast wasn't supporting the internet service we needed to run a Zoom council meeting, right? I mean, it was absurd. And then just this past weekend, I spent an hour and 45 minutes on the phone with Comcast. And so, 3 years is not soon enough. But, the fact that we are even in this position to have this conversation, to have an alternative, right, to the one monopoly that's holding us, right, to speeds that are not reliable, to paying escalating costs, right? You start at 75 and then everyone knows, I think, right, a year later, Comcast is like, well, now your bill's 125. For what reason? Just because, right? The promotional period is over. And I can go on and on and on, right? But I really want to stress the fact that you are releasing every single resident in Quincy from being bound to, fluctuating unknown costs that are very expensive for a service that, especially today, is you can't go without it. Whether it's kids in schools, people working from home, right? Getting access to information and/or services, phone calls, emergencies, et cetera. This is something that you're making easier for us and more affordable for us to access. And so it's a game changer. I don't know if folks understand, this is a game changer for this municipality and hopefully for folks to look after and model in their communities. And it started with you and your your ideas that you have to get something creative and new out there for a solution. So just thank you. I can't wait. If we can get it done sooner than 3 years, I would appreciate it. That's my only ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Yang. President recognizes Councilor Campbell.
President, thank you so much for joining us today. This is definitely something exciting. I think that an alternative is what everybody's looking for, and there's just no easy alternatives. So to have something built in is just an incredible option for the citizens and the residents of Quincy. It's exciting, and it's something that I hope that, as my colleague, Councilor Yang said, I hope we can move that as quickly as possible. I had just a couple of very brief questions. The outreach that you're going to do, as far as that goes, is there the possibility of an opt-in or an opt-out like we did with the energy? Maybe it's not a question for you, but I think that that's something that we should look at, consider, and if that's a question more for Mr. Walker. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Through you, Mr. President, as it stands right now, this isn't going to be an entirely opt-in program. There are some dynamics that we need to work through technically. This hasn't been done in a lot of places. The body may remember we did set up an enterprise department for this. So ultimately, revenue in, revenue out, much like the water and sewer department, is the proposed setup. Our goal, as it has been from day one, is to go out and work the neighborhoods to get that take rate that Bruce mentioned, that gets us to a place where our capital investment is being matched by the investment that folks are making by signing up to the program and agreeing to a monthly fee. But you raise a really good question, because there are some technicalities that we have to work through relative to it being a utility and the requirements of it being a utility and how that works from raising the revenue from the customer. In the water and sewer department, we don't have that. Everybody gets, if you own a home or if you own a property, you are basically a water sewer customer. Everybody has it. It's a little bit different, and there are some technical things that we're going to need to really dig into over the next couple of months to figure out exactly what it wants to be.
So just one other question I had was, as far as like the phases go, 3 years, is it every few months, and how it's going to be built out? Is there an anticipation for which place goes first, and why you're starting in Howe's Neck? Go ahead.
So the initial phases for the low-level design were chosen some time ago. The low-level design that's been performed is for Marymount and Park.
Quincy Point.
Quincy Point, yeah.
Point. So, and a lot of that had to do with trying to, there are fundamental reasons why. First of all, we feel like the cost to build those neighborhoods is going to be pretty reasonable. Also, we feel like it's a neighborhood that will respond well to the opportunity, but we expect to be able to pick it up and go pretty quick from there. So the hope is that when I say 3 years, that's from when the shovel goes into the ground, and the bulk of that would be done hopefully within 2 years, and we'll have some cleanup and some things to do after that. I do know that the majority of the contractors, when you actually execute the contract, depending on the materials being available, being able to get staged and mobilized, they will generally try and have their first customers connected so that you can say, we've got our first 5, our first 10 in less than 4 weeks.
Great. That's great. Well, this is exciting. Congratulations for all the work you've done on this, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Councilor Campbell. President recognizes Councilor Harris.
Thank you for the presentation, and obviously, congratulations, Councilor Kane. This is your work from 6 years ago. You should really be proud of yourself. I know there are a lot of people that are looking forward to this taking place. So with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Councilor Harris. Seconded, motion on the floor made by Councilor Harris, seconded by Councilor Liang. On the motion, President recognizes Councilor Ash.
Thank you, Mr. President. Congratulations to all of you involved. I know, Council President Kane, you introduced this a long time ago, and I remember hearing about it and was excited back then, and thrilled to be up here and help execute it at this point. I do understand one of the neighborhoods is Quincy Point, so that falls under my jurisdiction, so I'm happy to help promote this in the area. I think it will be well received, and I am glad to hear that we're doing an opt-in service. I know some of the feedback, I know the reasons why for the community electric, that made sense. Some of the feedback was that people would rather have the opt-in. So I think that'll be also welcomed and well-received. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Ash. President recognizes Councilor Devine.
Thank you very much to all the parties involved. You might have answered this already, but you said you had a percentage that, as you're going along doors, that you would expect?
30% is generally a good rule of thumb, and that's really just based on market averages when a new fiber option becomes available in an area where the only other two options are twisted pair copper, which is DSL, or a coaxial connection. Typically, you see 30%. It actually tends to be higher in a municipal open access system. People will be interested in knowing how many retail providers will be on the network, and so we'll develop that information and make sure that they're clear that they will have choice on the city fiber.
And at that 30%, it's profitable?
So the focus here, knowing that it's municipal, was on cost recovery. In answer to your question, it will more than pay the bills, which would allow you to drop your rates, which is normally what most cities would do, and rather than profit. Profit is not normally something that we consider in a municipal arrangement. We usually look at cost recovery and reserves.
That's great to hear, because I was lucky enough that in the last year and a half, I got to campaign twice. I don't know if anybody else here can say they did that in such a short time. But while I was doing that, everybody had concerns about their pricing, exactly to Councilor Liang's sentiments about contracts changing, not honoring loyalty. So great news, very exciting for the city. And once again, thank you to everyone that's been involved, because I only just got here.
Thanks, Councilor Devine. President recognizes Councilor Minton.
Thank you. One quick question for you. What are the cities or towns that you established in?
Other cities and towns?
Yes.
So are you interested mostly in Massachusetts?
Yes.
Okay, so mostly in Massachusetts, we're working with Milton, Wilbraham. We've worked with Fairhaven. The ones that are moving forward are Milton and Wilbraham are clearly moving forward. Let me think who else. We've done feasibility work for, we're just completing Dartmouth. And there are some others. I apologize. I wasn't necessarily totally prepared for that question, but I did give you the most active cities that are looking at moving forward. I think Milton is very interested in what you're doing and how you're proceeding.
Now, I recognize this is cutting-edge material, but no one has fully bought into the program yet?
Well, I would say this. I would say that when we say cutting edge, the cutting edge aspect isn't necessarily the technology. The technology and the construction are fairly well set. What is cutting edge is the concept that this is an essential service and we're going to treat it like a utility. And that gets challenging because, as you mentioned, and it is appropriate, you're going to treat it as an opt-in, but you're going to apply all the utility rules to it, which means you're going to do fee schedules, you're going to do an analysis about your operating costs, and you're going to base what you charge the residents for that. What that will really do for you is as you get more and more signups, it will allow you to drop your price, and it allows the community to see that they're investing in themselves, in their own infrastructure, in their own outcomes. That is the cutting edge part, and I do believe there are a lot of cities and towns across the country working on this. State laws are different everywhere, and so the way they do that, how they frame it, the way they go through that process, in my experience, having been involved in a lot of those, is completely different. Massachusetts has some very specific things, and as Chris mentioned, we're working through those things to determine which side of the fence is the right side of the fence. It gives you the freedom to do what you want to do 10 years, 20 years, and 30 years from now.
Great, thank you. We certainly need another option.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did I answer your question?
You did.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilor Minton. Bruce, I think it's, following that question, I think it's worth noting that you haven't always been with Entry Point, that you just joined Entry Point a couple of years ago, and where were you working before that?
I was the technology director for the city of Ammon, and I believe that was the very first model that was a legitimate municipal utility model. And Idaho law made us jump through some hoops to get there, but we got there, and so it operates very much like a utility, is completely opt-in. It's totally optional on the part of the homeowners.
And I just think that's relevant because Bruce is coming from working within a municipality, implementing a project like this, So he gets the ins and the outs, and now is on the other side helping cities and towns like us to do it. Follow up, yeah, Councilor Campbell.
I'm just curious, so in the municipalities that it has gone into, to work, has there been a response from an internet provider, like, so Comcast, has there been a response in meeting, and instead of losing people, you know, that's a big loss, 30% is a big loss.
It depends. So I wished I could give you a straight-up answer, but quite honestly, it depends. Most of the time, if that provider owns infrastructure and their product is a completely siloed product, meaning they own the infrastructure, they do the service, and they do everything end-to-end, most of them don't even understand how to unbundle those costs and how to actually make the transition. So it's very much like the captain going down with his ship. However, I will say that in my experience, and I lived this in Ammon as well, there are those that say they will never do it, and they are on the Ammon system today, and they did find a way to do it. So when it finally becomes apparent that the change is going to happen, they will try and find a way to do it. But don't be surprised that they will not do it out of the gate, and they will oppose these efforts.
Thank you, Councilor Campbell. So, Bruce, thank you for being here tonight. Thanks for the update, and thank you to my colleagues for their kind comments and the support. I have every council since 2018 to thank for supporting this project and moving it forward. It has been a big effort. I also have to thank the mayor for his consistent support from the beginning, and I also want to thank my friend and colleague Chris Walker, who has been there every step of the way to help move this project forward in a huge way. I think, you know, Chris, you cover a lot of issues on behalf of the mayor, with the mayor, across the city, and people don't get extreme insight into that. But this project, with how big it actually is, and the work that you have done behind the scenes, I am grateful for, and the city should be grateful for as well. So thank you very much. There is a motion on the floor from Councilor Harris, seconded by Councilor Liang. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash. Counselor Campbell.
Yes.
Counselor Devine. Counselor DeBona.
Yes.
Counselor Harris. Counselor Liang. Counselor McCarthy. Counselor Minton.
Yes.
President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
Thank you very much. All right, Madam Clerk, next item on the agenda, please.
Number 2, 2024-078, an appropriation for $8,889,786.52 for year-end transfers.
Okay, President recognizes Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion to approve these year-end transfers. These are our usual housekeeping at the end of the year, and I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
Motion to approve the year-end transfers made by Councilor McCarthy, seconded by Councilor Harris. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash.
Yes.
Counselor Campbell. Counselor Devine. Counselor DeBona.
Yes.
Counselor Harris. Counselor Liang. Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Minton. President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item,
Number
please.
3, 2024-079, an appropriation for $66,950 to Park Department Personal Services and Community Preservation Fund Administration.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved made by Councilor McCarthy, seconded by Councilor Harris. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash.
Yes.
Counselor Campbell. Counselor Devine. Counselor DeBona.
Yes.
Counselor Harris. Counselor Liang. Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Minton. President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item, please.
Number 4, appropriation for $900,000 to traffic, parking, alarm, and lighting personal services for reserve of appropriations, park and receipts.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved made by Councilor McCarthy, seconded by Councilor Harris. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash. Counselor Campbell. Counselor Devine. Counselor DeBona. Counselor Harris. Counselor Liang. Counselor McCarthy. Counselor Minton. President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item,
Number
please.
5, 2024-081, appropriation for $245,399.20 for tourism from hotel, motel tax and tourism.
Motion approved made by Councilor McCarthy, seconded by Councilor Harris. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash. Counselor Campbell. Counselor Devine. Counselor DeBona. Counselor Harris. Counselor Liang. Counselor McCarthy. Counselor Minton. President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item, please.
Number 6, 2024-082, an appropriation for $1,660,000 to Quincy Public Schools and Quincy Access Television from Comcast.
And that number is 1.66 million.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, it's all right. Just wanted to be clear. Yeah, motion approved made by Counsel McCarthy, seconded by Counsel Harris. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash. Counselor Campbell. Counselor Devine. Counselor DeBona. Counselor Harris. Counselor Liang. Counselor McCarthy. Counselor Minton. President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item, please.
Appropriation for, 7, 2024-083, an appropriation for $400,000 for Parks Department capital expenditure for tree offset.
Motion approved.
Motion approved made by Counsel McCarthy, seconded by Counsel Harris. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash. Counselor Campbell. Counselor Devine. Counselor DeBona. Counselor Harris. Counselor Liang. Counselor McCarthy. Counselor Minton. President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next
Number 8.
item, please.
2024-084, an appropriation, Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, setting the limits of what may be expended for fiscal year 2025 for departmental revolving accounts.
Motion approved made by Counsel McCarthy, seconded by Counsel Harris. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash. Counselor Campbell. Counselor Devine. Counselor DeBona. Counselor Harris. Counselor Liang. Counselor McCarthy. Counselor Minton. President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Number 9, 2024-085, an appropriation for $1,059,103 for fiscal year 23 health expenses from free cash.
Motion approved made by Counsel McCarthy, seconded by Counsel Harris. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash. Counselor Campbell. Counselor Devine. Counselor DeBona. Counselor Harris. Counselor Liang. Counselor McCarthy. Counselor Minton. President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item, please.
Number 10, 2024-086, an appropriation for $450,000 to Natural Resource Capital for park improvements for interest and short-term debt.
And, okay, motion approved, but did Mr. Walker? No? Motion approved made by Counsel McCarthy, seconded by Counsel Harris. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash. Counselor Campbell. Counselor Devine. Counselor DeBona. Counselor Harris. Counselor Liang. Counselor McCarthy. Counselor Minton. President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item, please.
Number 11, 2024-087, order.
Motion to waive the reading, motion to approve by Counsel Liang. On the motion?
Just wanted to say I'm excited for this. It's, not just solar panels, which I thought it was, but Mr. Walker corrected me. It's a solar canopy. Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. So yeah, let's get it done. That's all. Thanks.
What are you doing here? Are you going to talk about the canopy? Seconded by Counsel Harris. And are there any questions about the solar canopy for
Let's do it.
Commissioner Hines? Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash. Counselor Campbell. Counselor Devine. Counselor DeBona. Counselor Harris. Counselor Liang.
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy. Counselor Minton. President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Number 12, 2024-088.
Motion to waive the reading. Motion to approve by Counsel Harris. Second.
Please, I will speak on this one if I might.
Okay.
And I would like to blame Mr. Walker for this, but I looked back at the original copy. There is a typographical error in the proposed order that I need to please have you address. In the second whereas paragraph, it reads at the end, in Mass General Law, Chapter 149, commonly known as Construction Manager at Risk, that reference should be to Chapter 149A. It's critical because it's what we're actually doing here. No, to me, I did it, not you. I said I would have liked to have blamed you.
Counselor Harris would like to speak.
Okay. Okay, one moment. President recognizes Counsel Harris.
Yes, I'd like to amend for it to say, right, chapter 149A. Correct.
Just to be specific, is it the first reference to Chapter 149 or the second
The
reference?
second reference.
Thank you.
So it should read, Design Build Option and Master General Law, Chapter 149A, commonly known as
Construction Manager
Construction
Risk
Manager
Matters. Okay. Thank you. So Counselor Harris has made a motion to add an A following the second reference of Chapter 149 in the second whereas paragraph. Second by Counselor McCarthy. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash? Yes. Counselor Campbell? Yes. Counselor Devine? Yes. Counselor DeBona?
Yes.
Counselor Harris?
Yes.
Counselor Liang? Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Minton? President King?
Yes.
As amended, 9.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Number 13, ordinance amending Chapter 175 hazardous materials.
Okay, motion to waive the reading made by Counselor Lang and to move to ordinance, please. Seconded. All those in favor? Those opposed? Ayes have it.
14, 2024-09,
Motion to waive the reading and to move to ordinance, seconded by Counselor Devine. Again, this is outlined in the Finance Committee meeting today, which will set scope to both the roles of mayor and city council. Sure. On the motion, Counselor Lang.
Thanks. Just again, want to pause and give credit where credit's due, right? Talk about, again, getting creative and putting to practice, things that we're talking about and what folks are looking for. And this is a process that you're putting forward based off of the discussions that we had about making sure we have a process. So just thank you. That's all.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Counselor Lang. All those in favor to move to ordinance? Those opposed? Ayes have it. Next item, please.
number 15, 2024-091,
Motion approved made by Counsel Harris. Please send a note of thanks. Madam, do I have a second? Counsel McCarthy. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash? Yes. Counselor Campbell? Yes. Counselor Devine? Yes. Counselor DeBona?
Yes.
Counselor Harris? Yes. Counselor Liang? Yes. Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Minton? Yes. President Kane?
Yes.
9 members.
Madam Clerk.
Number
next-
16, 2024-092, the gift for,
Motion to waive the reading by Counsel Harris. Motion approved by Counsel Harris. Send a note of thanks. Seconded by Counsel McCarthy. Please call the roll.
Counselor Ash? Yes. Counselor Campbell? Yes. Counselor Devine? Yes. Counselor DeBona?
Yes.
Counselor Harris?
Yes.
Counselor Liang? Yes. Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Minton? Yes. President Kane?
Yes.
9 members.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, that concludes our regularly scheduled program. Approval of previous meeting minutes from June 3rd. Motion to approve made by Counsellor Liang, seconded by Counsellor Campbell. All those in favor? Those opposed? The ayes have it. Communications and reports from the mayor, other city officers, and city boards. Madam Clerk.
Excuse me. Sorry. I moved them all.
Busy over here today.
I am. Sorry.
Okay. Only Chris is complaining about the sports match that's going to be on tonight.
What? Yeah, I don't. Thank you. Yes, thank you. We do have a utility to refer to Public Works Committee for schedule and advertising. Grant a location National Grid Gas, Town Hill Street. Grant a location National Grid Verizon, Maple Road, 28 Furnace Brook Parkway. Grant a location National Grid, 28 through 38 Parkhurst Street and Winthrop Street.
Is that it? Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Unfinished business and proceeding meeting, seeing none. Reports of committees. Let's start with Finance. Chair McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Earlier this evening, we had a Finance Committee meeting, and we've got a number of things here that we need to get passed. I'll start off with 2024-059, appropriation of $1 million for our preliminary work for the new Squantum Elementary School. I put that in the form of a motion.
Okay, motion to approve appropriation for New Squantum Elementary School, seconded by Counselor Campbell, seconded by Counselor Harris. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash.
Yes.
Counselor Campbell.
Yes.
Counselor Devine. Counselor DeBona.
Yes.
Counselor Harris.
Yes.
Counselor Liang. Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Minton. President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
Thank you.
Thank you. Second item, 2024-060, appropriation, $320,000 for MSBA Montclair Elementary Roof Replacement Project. Put that in the form of a motion.
Motion approved by Counselor McCarthy, seconded by Counselor Harris. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash.
Yes.
Counselor Campbell.
Yes.
Counselor Devine. Counselor DeBona.
Yes.
Counselor Harris. Counselor Liang. Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Minton. President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
Third item, 2024-056, amending municipal code, Chapter 72, Article 1, job classifications and salaries, Section 72-1, official salary schedule for city councils. I put that in the form of a motion.
Motion approved made by Counselor McCarthy, seconded by Counselor DeBona. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash.
Yes.
Counselor Campbell.
Yes.
Counselor Devine. Counselor DeBona.
Yes.
Counselor Harris. Counselor Liang. Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Minton. President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
2024-055, amending municipal code, Chapter 72, Article 1, job classification and salaries, Section 72-1, official salary schedule for the mayor. I put that in the form of a motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Counselor McCarthy, seconded by Counselor DeBona. On the motion, I just want to make note again, for those that didn't catch it in the Finance Committee, and then again earlier during the regular council meeting, but the change to the ordinance that was proposed and put into the ordinance committee tonight by the council will be heard in the fall. So any changes to this section of the personnel policies will be heard by the public and then changed in the fall. So again, we've got a motion on the floor to approve. Councilor McCarthy, seconded by Councilor DeBona. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash.
Yes.
Counselor Campbell.
Yes.
Counselor Devine. Counselor DeBona.
Yes.
Counselor Harris.
Yes.
Counselor Liang. Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Minton. President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
2024-048, appropriation fiscal 2025 general budget as amended. I put that in the form of a motion.
There's a motion to approve for the as amended fiscal year 25 budget. Councilor McCarthy, seconded by Councilor DeBona. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash.
Yes.
Counselor Campbell.
Yes.
Counselor Devine. Counselor DeBona.
Yes.
Counselor Harris.
Yes.
Counselor Liang. Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Minton. President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
2024-049, appropriation, the fiscal 2025 sewer enterprise budget. I put that in the form of a motion to approve.
Okay, the fiscal year 25 sewer and enterprise budget, motion approved made by Councilor McCarthy, seconded by Councilor Harris. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash.
Yes.
Counselor Campbell.
Yes.
Counselor Devine. Counselor DeBona.
Yes.
Counselor Harris.
Yes.
Counselor Liang. Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Minton. President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
And 2024-050, appropriation, the fiscal 2025 water enterprise budget, and I put that in the form of a motion also.
Okay, motion to approve
To
from
approve.
Councilor McCarthy for the fiscal year 2025 water enterprise budget, seconded by Councilor Harris. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash.
Yes.
Counselor Campbell.
Yes.
Counselor Devine. Counselor DeBona.
Yes.
Counselor Harris.
Yes.
Counselor Liang. Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Minton. President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
Is that all, Councilor McCarthy?
Yes, yes, Mr.
Thank you,
President,
Chair
thank you.
McCarthy. Next, Chair Harris for Public Works.
Yes, thank you. We held prior to this evening's council meeting, Council Order 2024-076, utility grant of location, Mass Electric, Verizon, 108 Franklin Street. Positive recommendation from the Public Works Committee. Motion to approve.
Motion approved. Positive recommendation. Motion approved made by Councilor Harris, seconded by Councilor DeBona. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash. Counselor Campbell.
Yes.
Counselor Devine. Counselor DeBona.
Yes.
Counselor Harris.
Yes.
Counselor Liang. Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Minton. President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
That's it, Chair
That's it.
Harris. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. And lastly, Chair Liang for Ordinance Committee.
Thank you. Bear with me, folks. I got a bunch of traffics here in 1, 2, 3, and 5. So starting with Ward 1, 2024-065, add handicap parking to 1 Seville Ave. Positive recommendation. I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Motion approved made by Councilor Liang, seconded by Councilor McCarthy. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash. Yes. Counselor Campbell. Yes. Counselor Devine. Yes. Counselor DeBona.
Yes.
Counselor Harris.
Yes.
Counselor Liang.
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Minton.
Yes.
President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
Thank you.
Thank you. 2024-066, add handicap parking to 26 Winthrop Street. Positive recommendation. I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Motion approved made by Councilor Liang, seconded by Councilor McCarthy. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash. Yes. Counselor Campbell. Yes. Counselor Devine. Yes. Counselor DeBona.
Yes.
Counselor Harris.
Yes.
Counselor Liang.
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Minton.
Yes.
President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
2024-067, add 2-hour parking on the odd number side of Woodward Ave, Huntley Road to Russell Park. Positive recommendation. Motion to approve.
Motion approved made by Councilor Liang, seconded by Councilor McCarthy. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash. Yes. Counselor Campbell.
Yes.
Counselor Devine. Yes. Counselor DeBona.
Yes.
Counselor Harris. Yes. Counselor Liang.
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Minton. President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
Great. Ward 2, 2024-068, add no parking to Curtis Ave, Hannah Street to Washington Court, odd side. Positive recommendation. Motion to approve.
Motion approved made by Councilor Liang, seconded by Councilor McCarthy. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash. Yes. Counselor Campbell. Yes. Counselor Devine. Yes. Counselor DeBona.
Yes.
Counselor Harris. Yes. Counselor Liang.
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Minton. Yes. President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
I'm sorry, Mr. President, if I may, the second Fifth Street ordinance for Ward 2, if we could actually just leave that for now. I've spoken with Traffic Department. We're going to wait on that for a community meeting.
Absolutely. So, Counselor, is this the 5th Street, 143 5th Street, Fasten Park? That one we're just going to leave in committee for now, correct?
069?
Or 070?
070.
You got it.
070, we're going to leave alone.
Sounds good, Counselor. I'll leave that in
Thank
committee.
you. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Last one in your ward is 2024-069. Add no parking to Curtis Ave, Baxter Ave to Hannah Street, even side. Positive recommendation out of committee. Motion to approve.
Motion approved made by Councilor Liang, seconded by Councilor McCarthy. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash. Yes. Counselor Campbell. Yes. Counselor Devine. Yes. Counselor DeBona.
Yes.
Counselor Harris.
Yes.
Counselor Liang.
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Minton.
Yes.
President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
Thank you. Now moving to Ward 3, 2024-071. Remove handicap parking from 30 Ardell Street. Positive recommendation. Motion to approve.
Motion approved made by Councilor Liang, seconded by Councilor McCarthy. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash.
Yes.
Counselor Campbell.
Yes.
Counselor Devine. Counselor Devine. Counselor DeBona.
Yes.
Counselor Harris.
Yes.
Counselor Liang.
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Minton.
Yes.
President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
Thank you. Lastly, Ward 5, 2024-072. Add handicap parking to 76 President's Lane. Positive recommendation. Motion to approve.
Motion approved made by Councilor Liang, seconded by Councilor McCarthy. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash. Yes. Counselor Campbell.
Yes.
Counselor Devine. Yes. Counselor DeBona.
Yes.
Counselor Harris.
Yes.
Counselor Liang.
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Minton.
Yes.
President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
2024-073. Add stop sign to Sims Road at Fenno Street. Positive recommendation. Motion to approve.
Motion approved made by Councilor Liang, seconded by Councilor McCarthy. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash.
Yes.
Counselor Campbell.
Yes.
Counselor Devine.
Yes.
Counselor DeBona.
Yes.
Counselor Harris.
Yes.
Counselor Liang.
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Minton.
Yes.
President Kane.
Yes.
2024-074. Add stop sign to Perry Street at Fenno Street. Positive recommendation. Motion to approve.
Motion approved made by Councilor Liang, seconded by Councilor McCarthy. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash.
Yes.
Counselor Campbell.
Yes.
Counselor Devine.
Yes.
Counselor DeBona.
Yes.
Counselor Harris.
Yes.
Counselor Liang.
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Minton.
Yes.
President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
Thank you. 2024-075. Add no parking signs to Sachem Street, Quincy Shore Drive to 67 feet west of Quincy Shore Drive. Positive recommendation. Motion to approve.
Motion approved made by Councilor Liang, seconded by Councilor McCarthy. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash.
Yes.
Counselor Campbell.
Yes.
Counselor Devine.
Yes.
Counselor DeBona.
Yes.
Counselor Harris.
Yes.
Counselor Liang.
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Minton.
Yes.
President Kane.
Yes.
9 members.
Thank you. And lastly, we met tonight to discuss 2024-063, order amendment to tax incremental financing agreement, Granite Telecommunications Corp. / Fox Rock Heritage One Realty LLC, 61 Heritage Drive. There was a positive recommendation on committee. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve made by Counsel Lang, seconded by Counsel McCarthy. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Ash. Counselor Campbell.
Yes.
Counselor Devine. Yes. Counselor DeBona.
Yes.
Counselor Harris. Counselor Liang.
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Minton. President Kane.
Abstain, please.
Abstain.
Thank you. Is that
Mr.
it,
President,
Chairman?
thank you. That's all I've got.
Sure?
Yep, that's
All
it.
right.
No, just those few.
8 members.
Thank you. Presentation of petitions, memorials, and remonstrance. See. President recognizes Counsel Ash.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to recognize and honor and say a few words about Matthew Troy, who was a classmate of mine and a Boston Fire, a member of the Boston Fire Department. Matt and I grew up together, went through Clifford Marshall, Point Webster, Quincy High. His mother is a Clifford Marshall teacher. She has been for quite some time. I'm sure a lot of you would know the family by face if you don't by name. They're incredible people. Matt lost his year-and-a-half courageous battle with, and I hope I don't butcher this, cholangiocarcinoma, which there have been a lot of news articles about that being an occupational type of cancer for firefighters. I'm going to read some excerpts from the obituary, and then I'll let you all know that services will be at, they're through Sweeney Funeral Home, Sweeney Brothers. They're at Dolan Friday from 4 to 7 with a mass on Saturday morning. Matt led a full and vibrant life with his family and friends at the heart of it all. He was the beloved husband of Rachel Lucier Troy, their relationship spanning over a decade of love and companionship. Together they shared a golden retriever, Ralphie, who was always a bright light for Matt. He was the devoted son of Paul and Desiree Mattia Troy, loving brother of Sarah and Emily Troy, doting grandson of Catherine Mattia in North Carolina, adored son-in-law of John and Lori Lucier, and brother-in-law of Dominique Lucier and her fiancé, Mike Gendro. Matt is also survived by many loving aunts, uncles, cousins, and friends. After Quincy High School, Matt enlisted in the United States Marine Corps Reserves. His specialty was that of a machine gunner, and he received the National Defense Service Medal and Rifle Sharpshooter Badge. He was so proud to serve his country and forever grateful for the experiences and friendships he made through the Marine Corps. While enlisted, Matt also worked alongside his father for their family company, Troy & Son, which ignited his entrepreneurial spirit that led him to start his own waste removal company. He then fulfilled a lifelong dream of becoming a Boston firefighter. He was assigned to Engine 10, the Big House, as they call it, as a special operations and technique rescue firefighter. He was proud to be a member of Boston Fire Department. His career was one dedicated to bravery, selflessness, and protecting others. Matt had a vibrant social life, many friendships that he valued deeply, considering a lot of his core friends essential parts of his life and his family. He had a way of quickly connecting with people and was able to make a friend anywhere he went, and I can certainly attest to that. His warm heart, sense of humor, infectious laugh, and generosity made it so easy to love him. In his free time, Matt loved traveling, golfing, adventuring with his dog, and being outdoors. Although he had hoped to travel more, Matt made his mark on many states and countries alongside his wife. And the Troy family is immensely grateful for everyone at MGH who cared for Matt, especially those in the GI Cancer Center, Endoscopy Department, and the nurses of London 9. The comfort and support that Father John Uni and Mother Olga gifted Matt and their families will be cherished forever. So certainly thank the now late Matt Troy for his service, for his friendship, and also for his camaraderie and hard work on the Boston Fire Department. 32 years, very young, and I'm very sorry to report that loss, and my love and condolences to the whole Troy family. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Ash. President recognizes Councilor DeBona.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to say we had an awesome Flag Day celebration here on Saturday, and I just want to say that kudos to the entire Flag Day committee and the entire community. It was a perfect night out there with the parade, the ceremony, the fireworks. Makes you proud to be part of a community in a city like this where we really had like a small town feel, that almost like we were like a small town, 20,000 people in the city, in the town, where we're over 100,000 people. So the tradition is fantastic, and the fireworks and the ceremony, and you had bands, you had floats, you had color guards, kids doing the youth sports, with Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, all the different nonprofits. So I just want to say that's just really. Tonight's going to be our last meeting. We're going to go into the summer, but it really kicks off the summer, really, to have that special occasion. So Flag Day was fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor DeBona. Okay, motions, orders, and resolutions. Seeing none. Scheduling of committee meetings and public hearings. So we will have July and August, no council meetings or committee meetings or public hearings. We'll be back in session on Monday, September 9th at 6:30 here in the council chambers. On that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn from Councilor Liang, seconded by Councilor McCarthy. All those in favor? Thank you, everyone. Have a good night and enjoy your summer.